Today we are also covering weather because it is wet in the Carolinas, and we're also keeping a close eye on the tropics. So we have Chris Mulcahy in the house. He is covering it all. I know your eye is close to the sky, the radar.
Yeah, and I just want to say this is my fault.
What's happened?
Well, because there was a couple of weeks ago that it was just sunny every day and it was really comfortable, and I was like, man, this weather's boring. And I was just said, I was like, I hope it gets more active soon because I'm bored.
You did say that.
I did say that.
Be careful what you ask for.
I think I said it in this seat. And then, that's what they say. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
It's in all horror movies involving wishes. And luckily for us, I can say that probably the best news since I came with the discovery that we were going to get a tropical system here is that it is trying to be weaker. But truly, I do not want people to focus in on the wind speeds. The biggest problem that people have for tropical storms or hurricanes, category 1 through 5, is that everyone cares about the category and the wind speed. The rain and the flooding is what the worst of it is. And I think you're still going to have a lot of rain with this system regardless, so I just want people to kind of temper their expectations there. But let's get right to it. Roll tape. Let's go. Our increasing rain chances are here. We have scattered rain today. We've already seen it this morning. It's dreary, not really motivational. That's also what we're going to have later on this evening and tomorrow morning, so an excuse to be lazy for a little bit in time to time. And then rain is likely and widespread overnight tonight heading into tomorrow. Now, it's not going to be a complete washout by any stretch of the imagination, but here's the reason why. We have a tremendous amount of moisture. It's been muggy. It's been uncomfortable. Not great. And if you have all that moisture and something to lift it up, aka a front or a low, that's going to do it. And that's exactly what we have here. So that's why we're having constant rain chances throughout the weekend and today. Now, I think as early in here, let me rewind real quick. So you're seeing this right around 5 p.m. Once you get into the evening, I think things are going to be a little bit more favorable. Sometimes with these type of events, as the temperature cools down a little bit, it gets close to the dew point, and you technically have a higher relative humidity, aka more saturation in the atmosphere, so that can lead to more widespread rain. I think that's exactly what's happening with this system. You're going to have a quasi-stationary front, there it is again, and that is going to allow for more widespread showers and rain through the overnight, especially up in the mountains and the foothills, a little bit heavier there, and we also do have a risk for a little bit of flooding because of this. So everyone just note that we're going to see a lot of rain overnight tonight. Now, this is a precursor as well because we're seeing a lot of on and off rain. So anything that we do get later on the week is going to allow for a better chance for some flooding. Nothing like the precursor, the predecessor rain event for Helene. Nothing's going to be like that. I always have to mention that, especially because we're heading into the official anniversary by tomorrow. And over the next 36 hours, that front eventually is going to try to get out of here. A lot more heavier rain heading into your Saturday afternoon along the shoreline. And I think that if there's going to be any lulls, it's going to be more so during the afternoons over the next few days, such as even today. All right, so let's get right to it. I want to get to where we're expecting some of the heaviest rain. Once you get to about 6 o'clock, we're seeing isolated showers and thunderstorms. Truly, the kids getting home from the bus stop. If you're a parent at home right now waiting for them to get there, I would just keep an eye on the radar because there's a chance that you have a downpour. Maybe you want to pick them up. I'm sure they'll be grateful of that, unless they like walking and singing in the rain. But we could have some thunder and lightning with it, so keep that in mind. Rain starts to expand during this evening. Now, I'm not going to tell people what not to do, but if you don't like getting soaked, you might want to change any outdoor evening plans. There still could be some breaks, but especially the further west that you go, especially west of 321, it looks like rain's going to be more prevalent. So you're going to have a likely chance for rain throughout this evening and through the overnight. Okay, what about tomorrow? Well, it looks like most of this is an overnight event. So when the sun is rising up, we're starting to break things up. Still a lot more prevalent further east that you go. So say if you have an event late morning, you might be okay. But then we are going to see the chance for a little bit of sunshine to return, an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but then we rinse and repeat. We drag in more widespread rain. Could be heavy at times during the evening, heading into the morning before we take another lull. Now, Sunday in general, we're distancing ourselves from that front, the thing that lifts everything up. That's going to allow for a slightly drier forecast, still a kind of dreary looking start to the day. So do you know what? I love these type of moments because sometimes I just want to not do anything to immediately start the day. So if you don't have any direct things to do, this is actually great news for you. So I'm trying to give you an excuse here. I'll write you a weather note. For our 7-day forecast, I'm just going to end it here. We're either side of 80 degrees going forward. It might be even actually a little bit warmer on Sunday. I was thinking about raising that temperature, but I just kept it for consistency. This is a big downgrade because we've literally since last Friday been in the lower 90s to the upper 80s. I think the coolest we've been is 86 degrees over the last week. So this is going to be a big change, but the mugginess is not changing. We are still going to be feeling it big time, my friends. So I want everyone to just keep that in mind. And then going into next week, I don't have any active weather alert bars because we're trying something new because we want to alert you a little bit later. I'm calling this an Imelda watch. So a weather alert Imelda watch. That's starting late on Monday, heading into Wednesday. It would be irresponsible of me as a meteorologist to pick a day and then immediately change it to another day, and because the window is too wide right now. I would say our general time frame for even the landfall of what the system is going to be, the intensity is unclear. The path is unclear. Literally, it could make landfall on the Georgia-South Carolina border or the North Carolina-South Carolina border. That's a big difference for what we see here in the Charlotte area. So I just want everyone to know, Tuesday especially, because right in the middle of that, that's where you have the highest chance for some impacts from this system. Maybe indirectly or directly, but regardless, it's something that we all need to watch. Of course, the shorelines are number one because they deal with the storm surge and some of the heavier rain, but there are several scenarios here that you could have a significant swath that's going to move across. I also want to mention that we are going to have some excessive rain impacts and some risks. These maps are going to change likely, but notice on Monday and Tuesday they are keeping some of the green and the yellows around. The last time that we had an extreme level was exactly a year ago. That was Helene. So it takes a lot for us to get at that level. Light to moderate for right now. I'm hoping that we don't get up to a high level in the near term. So I want to show you a couple of the rainfall impacts. I think that that's going to be the biggest deal that we're going to see across the Carolinas in general. This is called the QPF, Quantitative Precipitation Forecast. You don't need to know that, but I told you anyways. Over the next 7-day forecast, I like this because the Storm Prediction Center literally takes all the models, kind of puts them together and shows what things are looking like. It still is showing, because if you look at that little key at the top, a decent amount of rain, including what we have this weekend, today, this weekend, and with Imelda, and it's keeping a lot of the reds to the oranges. So that's representing that we could have anywhere from about 3 to 7 inches of rain from the mountains to the coast. That's a lot. So yeah, I think the flooding is going to be the bigger issue. Now, some of the other models that I'm showing you are all over the place. So the main two models are the American and the European. That's what we use for the long range. By the end of the weekend, by Monday, if this thing is still deciding what it's going to do, I'm going to have some other ones that are a lot more detailed, and we're going to have some much better numbers. But we don't even have the name storm yet, and I'll get to that in a second. But look at this. This is the worst case scenario, because what this does is this makes the landfall more in South Carolina, and it has it still moving fairly quickly, and it brings all that moisture all the way up to the mountains that you're literally seeing anywhere from about 4 to 6 inches of rain pretty much for the entirety of South Carolina all the way up into the Charlotte area. Now, this rain over a long period of time, over, say, 2 days, we can withstand that. But if you're getting like heavy swaths all at once, this would be kind of very similar to a Debbie rainfall, if you can remember that, of last year. That didn't lead to great situations. You had a lot of roads that were underwater, and it was a decent soaking. It was actually one of the wettest August days that we've ever had in Charlotte history. This is the European model. This one actually shows more of a northern landfall, a little bit closer to the North Carolina border. And look at that, it's showing up to about 9 inches of rain. So this is not saying what it is. I think the best way for me to really handle this right now is to show you kind of the two extremes that we're looking at in between. There's the slightest example that, hey, maybe this is going to move out to sea, but in general, that really hasn't been the case. I also want to show you what we're even talking about. So I keep on bringing up Imelda. Well, we don't even have that right now, because as of right now, the most recent advisory was at 8 a.m. for Tropical Wave Invest 94L. So where you see that little low symbol, that's technically where the center is. The reason why we haven't really formed anything yet is because it's just taking its sweet time. It's actually slowed down a little bit, which has some advantages here. That's also why it's really tough for us to have a window of opportunity. But it's right over Hispaniola. But Hispaniola actually has a very unique terrain. Many people might not realize that. So where you're seeing those clouds here in the Caribbean, Hispaniola has a mountain range that's over 10,000 feet high. And you think about this really fickle creature of a hurricane that needs everything to be just right. Wind shear with the change of winds blowing stronger aloft, which it typically does at higher elevations anyways. Well, this happens all the time, that it's not well known to the everyday folk, but for meteorologists, we sometimes call these the hurricane killing mountains, because when a tropical system passes over that, you can break up a lot of it, especially if it's slow moving. So Pico Duarte, especially over here, is one factor. So we thank you, Pico Duarte, for trying to slow down the process. I also mentioned this a lot yesterday, wind shear. Wind shear also breaks up the column and how everything interacts. Well, as you can see, there's a general consensus this is going to be in the northern Bahamas by about Sunday morning. All that area of red that you're seeing there is a lot of stronger winds aloft, weaker at the surface, change of wind speed with height, change of wind direction with height, which is going to cut into the development. So this looks to be fairly disorganized. I am thanking our lucky stars that we don't have a clear path of development, no rapid intensification really on tap at this point, and that's going to affect things. So right now, the earliest window for landfall is showing some trending even down into Georgia. That's why so many things can still happen. The biggest change yesterday was showing that this could even make landfall, but the earliest landfall I think we're going to see is either side of noon on Monday. The latest looks to be representation later on Tuesday, but in general, it looks like late Monday into Tuesday is the best chance that we really start to see changing impacts here across the Carolina. So here's the reason why we went into a little bit more detail on this, but plain and simple, you see it all the time. They need that really well-defined eye wall. It's not necessarily going to be the case in scenario for Imelda. That's the normal flow. When you get wind shear, whoosh, it gets all tilty, and then it isn't able to really develop as much as it would like to. So here is the graphic that I showed you yesterday, but of course I updated it for the most recent run. Yesterday, at this point, we were showing some indications that, wow, this could even have a slight chance of reaching Category 3 strength. Now the upper models are showing only hurricane strength, and I say only, but at least it's a general consensus for tropical storm strength. Still could have some gusty winds, but at least it's trending away from stronger winds. But I showed you the rain. That doesn't really matter too much because it still could be a big rain event and something that we have to watch really closely. The best scenario was it moving out to sea. That's still becoming less and less of a possibility. We also can't forget about Hurricane Umberto. That officially happened this morning. The 5 a.m. update upgraded this to a hurricane, but it's crazy that I'm spending more time and focus on a wave, a 92L wave, instead of a storm that is likely going to become a Category 4 Hugo strength hurricane. The reason why is this one doesn't really look to be an impact, at least to the United States. If you look really closely, I have Bermuda labeled here. Right now, the center of circulation does look to be off towards the west. It's a really impressive storm in general, but it does look like it is trending a little bit further west of Bermuda, and again, not impactful for the United States. So that's the ideal scenario that you want to see there, and I hope that we're going to continue to see that as well. I want to show you one more graphic that really shows you the difference between these two storms, and then I will let you beautiful people go out of my weather clutches. Here is our Futurecast wind gust. Check this out. So I'm going to stop it right here. All right, so this is 1 a.m. on Sunday. Look to the right. Umberto is really a beautiful storm. Has that pinhole eye wall. It's really tight, compactful. Usually these sometimes larger isn't better for hurricanes. When you have really a smaller one, picture a figure skater tucking their arms in, make them as small as they can spin faster. Sometimes the larger it is, the more lunky it is, so it doesn't pick up as strong of winds as one of the tightly compact ones. Well, this one likely I think is going to go through rapid intensification from 75 to about 140 at least in the coming zone. But notice how Sunday at 1 a.m. we still have a blob of thunderstorms. So yesterday, I will say this is changing. I was calling for it likely look like Imelda could be named by this afternoon. I'm not saying that couldn't happen, but now it's looking more likely by tomorrow. And the more and more we delay this, because the less time that a named storm, a tropical storm, can be out on open water, well, the weaker it's going to be, because it's still a disorganized wave at this point. So the best case scenario doesn't become anything until about Sunday into Monday, because you barely even have like a weak eye wall at that point. So we do have a lot of things that are working in our favor. It's still not a really great forecast, but at least it's not the worst case scenario. But still, a lot of flash flooding could be a possibility. I think the best example I have for you happened this year. Chantal was pretty much just a passerby. 45-mile-per-hour winds, no big deal. We know what happened in Raleigh. It was a deadly storm still. So I'm not saying that people are going to die from this, but if you underestimate the power of these tropical waves and these tropical systems like this, they do turn into deadly situations. So things, again, are trending in the right direction, but we still could have some dangerous conditions, dangerous surf, heavy rain, flash flooding as well. But, of course, stand by, because this is an ever-changing development.
All right, so we need this rain.
We do.
I guess, but not all at once.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice.
Yeah, 85 to 95% of the Carolinas are currently under drought status, or at least abnormally dry.
All right, and this weekend's not going to be great for outdoor activities.
Sunday is the best day.
Sunday is the best day. Sunday barbecue. Sunday barbecue?
And you will have actually some lulls for your Saturday afternoon, but Sunday, as the life's a game of averages, Sunday is the best chance for you not to be mad of a wet barbecue.
Life is a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're going to get.
There you go.